Imagine this for a second. You've finally reached the income level you've been chasing for years. You're making $80,000, then $120,000, maybe even $200,000 a year. Your younger self would have thought this was the finish line, because growing up, the logic always seemed simple. More money equals fewer problems. And for a while, that actually feels true. You can pay your bills without stress, you can travel sometimes, you can upgrade your car. You don't panic when an unexpected expense shows up. But then something strange starts happening. Your income keeps going up, yet somehow your stress level doesn't go down. In fact, for many people, it actually goes up. You start worrying about things you never worried about before. Losing your job, burnout, your health, your time disappearing. And suddenly you realize something nobody talks about. There's a point in life where making more money stops solving your problems. And if you don't understand what replaces it, you can spend the rest of your life chasing a solution that stopped working years ago. My name is Net, and I spend way too much time thinking about how money shapes our decisions and our lives. If you're someone who's working hard, trying to build financial stability, but still feels like something about the money game isn't adding up, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today we're talking about something that most financial advice completely ignores. The exact point where money stops solving problems and the thing that replaces it. Look, most financial advice is built around one core idea. Just earn more money. Your job is to increase income, get promoted, start a side hustle, invest more. And to be clear, this advice isn't wrong. Money absolutely solves a lot of problems. If you can't afford rent, money solves that. If you're drowning in debt, money solves that. If one emergency can wipe out your savings, money solves that too. But here's the thing most people don't realize. Money only solves a specific category of problems, and once those problems are solved, the equation changes. In 2010, researchers Daniel Kahneman and Angus Dayton studied how income affects happiness. They analyzed data from over 450,000 Americans, and what they found shocked a lot of economists. Emotional well-being, meaning your daily happiness and stress levels, increases with income, but only up to about $75,000 per year. After that point, more income had almost no impact on daily happiness. Now, adjusted for inflation today, that number is closer to around $95,000, $100,000. What this means is simple. Money dramatically improves your life until your basic financial stress disappears. After that, the relationship between money and happiness becomes incredibly weak, which leads to a really uncomfortable question. If money stops solving problems after a certain point, what actually does? To understand this, we first need to understand the three major problems money solves. Problem number one, survival. This is the most obvious one. Food, shelter, healthcare, transportation. Without enough money, these become constant stress sources. According to the Federal Reserve, nearly 37% of Americans cannot cover a $400 emergency expense without borrowing or selling something. When you're in this situation, money isn't about luxury, it's about stability. Problem number two, security. Once survival is handled, people start worrying about the future, retirement, unexpected medical bills, job loss. This is where emergency funds, investments, and savings matter. And here's where the math becomes powerful. For example, if someone invests $500 per month with an average 8% annual return, after 30 years, that becomes about $745,000. That kind of money dramatically reduces uncertainty about the future. And again, money clearly solves the problem. Problem number three, freedom. Now we reach the third stage, the moment when people stop asking, "Can I survive?" and start asking, "Can I live the way I want?" This means things like working fewer hours, choosing work you enjoy, traveling more,
And at this stage, money still matters. But here's where the game starts changing. Because once someone reaches a certain income, more money doesn't automatically create more freedom. Sometimes it does the opposite. Here's what most people don't realize. As income increases, so do expectations. You upgrade your apartment. You upgrade your car. You start eating out more. Maybe you move into a nicer neighborhood. Individually, none of these decisions feel huge, but together, they create something economists call lifestyle inflation. Your spending quietly rises to match your income. So even though you're making more money, you're not actually gaining freedom. You're just upgrading your expenses. And here's where it gets really interesting. Because at this stage, money stops being the main problem. Time becomes the problem. Let's say someone earns $200,000 a year. On paper, that sounds like total financial success. But what if that job requires 60 hours per week, constant emails, weekend work, high stress? Now, suddenly the problem isn't money. The problem is time and energy. And here's the brutal irony. Many high-income careers actually reduce freedom instead of increasing it. You earn more, but you own less of your life, which leads to the next realization. Once survival and security are solved, the real currency of life changes. The new currency becomes control. Control over your time, control over your schedule, control over the type of work you do. This is the point where people start saying things like, "I don't care about making more money, I just want my time back." And psychologically, this shift is huge, because humans are wired to value autonomy. In psychology, one of the strongest drivers of happiness is something called self-determination. It includes three things: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Money helps with these things, but it doesn't guarantee them, and sometimes chasing money actually destroys them. Let me give you a simple example. Two people. Person A earns $250,000 a year working a stressful corporate job. They work 70 hours a week. They check email constantly. They're exhausted. Person B earns $90,000 per year working remotely with flexible hours. They work 35 hours a week. They have time for hobbies, exercise, and family. Now here's the question. Who is richer? Financially, person A wins. But in terms of life satisfaction, it's not nearly that simple. Because at some point, money stops being the main metric. Here's what most people don't realize. Real wealth is not just income. Real wealth is money times time times freedom. If one of those numbers is zero, the entire equation collapses. For example, high money, zero time equals burnout. High money, zero freedom equals golden handcuffs. Low money, high time equals financial stress. The goal is balance. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but if this is true, why do people keep chasing more money? Two reasons. First is comparison. Humans don't evaluate wealth in absolute terms. We evaluate it relative to other people. If your neighbor buys a luxury car, suddenly your perfectly fine car feels worse, even if nothing about your financial situation changed. The second reason is goal displacement. When people spend years chasing income, it becomes their identity. So even after money stops solving their problems, they keep chasing it anyway, because they don't know what else to optimize for. So if money stops being the main solution, what replaces it? There are four things. 1. Time ownership. Your ability to decide how your time is spent. This is why remote work exploded after 2020. People realized commuting 2 hours a day was destroying their life satisfaction. Time ownership often matters more than salary increases. 2. Health. This one sounds obvious, but it's often ignored. Many high earners sacrifice sleep, exercise, and stress management. Yet studies show poor health dramatically reduces life satisfaction, regardless of income. A person earning $60,000 with excellent health often reports higher happiness than someone earning $200,000 with chronic stress. 3. Relationships. Harvard conducted the longest happiness study ever, following people for over 80 years, and their conclusion was simple. The strongest predictor of happiness was not wealth, it was quality relationships, family, friends, community. Money can support these, but it cannot replace them. 4. Meaningful work. People want to feel that their work matters, not necessarily in a world-changing way, but in a way that feels personally meaningful. And interestingly, many people eventually leave high-paying jobs to pursue work they actually care about, not because they hate money, but because money stopped solving their real problem. So, how do you apply this? Here are 4 practical steps. Step 1. Identify your financial threshold. Calculate